Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Don Wallace. Don founded Wallace Janitorial Services 1981. I know for those of you looking on the YouTube channel, like, he can't be that old. Well, he started young, and he is that old. Bunch of old guys talking about cleaning. They've been doing commercial the whole time. He's in southeastern Pennsylvania. Not only is Don, I've had the honor and opportunity to work with him for a little while, but I think this is his second time on the podcast. So if you love this and want to go back and listen to the first one, that'll be great. And then we can also kind of talk about if things have changed since then. That'll be fun to hear about as well. So I guess my goal for these, Don, is always, we get tens of thousands of listeners and we can only take a dozen or so clients per month. So I want to make sure for these, we try and do our best to give as much value to the people that we can't work with. Without, going through the program. So if we can, just so everyone knows, I always like doing the before, because I think people here, especially our next level clients, and they're like, they're magical, or they were just born smart, or they've got some sort of juju that I don't have. So will you, if you would, for everybody, kind of just paint the picture of what the business was like prior to you coming in, what made you be like, all right, I got to do something different. I got to make a change. Like, walk us through how that looked, felt, day to day, all that.
Oh my gosh, love it, love it. Well, I was trying to figure out everything myself, and I thought I was on the right track because everything had to go through me. Everything relied on me. Whatever anybody needed, they had to call me. And all that did was make me work 70, 80 hours a week. So life was a mess. And it's funny, before pandemic, I was actually planning a different venture. I was like, I'm going to get out of this. I really, I don't want to keep doing this in 10 years. I don't want to work this much and miss everything that I missed so far with my kids, with my wife, and all that stuff. So pandemic happened. Cleaning service became much more valuable. We got PPP loans, et cetera. All of a sudden, we're cooking with grease, man. We got a lot in the account. We're ready to go. But I still found myself, even after that, just working way too much and figuring there's got to be a better way, and going, dadgum, I've been doing this so many years and I haven't figured out a better way. Maybe I'll do something else. And that's where I was. And happened to find a cool group with some cool dude. And the rest was history. Don't have to work that much anymore.
But we'll get to the next, but I want to make sure
okay.
on then. So
that's the before in a nutshell.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. One, you were working 70, 80 hours a week. And I just, if you could tell me if this is your experience, it's a mixed bag, because I shouldn't say I think I've experienced getting that high off of solving problems, right? Everyone comes to me, they solve problems. I'm really good at it. So I can be like, do this, go here, boom, 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 boom. And it feels you kind of like with a phone, like a little dopamine hit when you put out a problem.
Right.
But then you find you're addicted to the goddamn thing and you can't take a vacation. And did you have that dopamine hit, or has it been long enough where you're like, I don't even need the dopamine anymore, I'm just sick and gosh darn tired?
Yeah, it was way past the dopamine hit.
Okay.
I mean, it was, I am so tired of dopamine. Get me out.
So what was it? You didn't know what to do? Was it mindset? Was it tactics? Like, what stopped you from figuring it out? Because you're a bright guy, you've been doing it a long time. Like, what kept you from figuring this thing out on your own?
Understanding scaling, understanding that I can show somebody else how to do X, Y, or Z, and it'll be fine. And realizing that, well, maybe if they didn't do it exactly how I would do it, I might not be 100% happy, but 98% ain't that bad, and I'm good.
And hopefully sometimes they'll do it and you're like, well, crap, that was actually better than I would have done.
And that's what I found out. Yeah.
Which is tough, because it's a bit of an ego blow, right? Like, at a much lower level, clients that are still cleaning, like, but I clean perfect, and my clients require me and they'll fire me and they won't tolerate. And it's kind of a bit of a self-made prison, right? Because if our clients require us to clean and they won't accept anyone else, it makes us feel good. But now, by definition, we can only grow as big as we can personally clean, and we only have a job as long as our body's physically doing it. So it sounds like you had that at a managerial level, where it was like, if I didn't personally oversee everything, it would fall apart, which kind of makes you feel loved and needed. But then the paradox is you're needed. And the thing, I think Ryan Dice said, the more valuable you are to your business, the less valuable the business is, and the less valuable you are to your business, the more valuable your business is. And it sounds like you were pretty valuable to your business.
1,000%, 1,000%. And every client was so important because we didn't have a way to get new clients, right? There was no plan. There were a couple things that we tried over the years, and sometimes they worked, most times they didn't. And, each and every client was that important. Well, I'm going to go, I'll make sure it's done right tonight, and that kind of thing, being the be all end all and trying to be everywhere all the time. And yeah, it got old. It got real old.
So I think that's super clear on where you're at now. If you don't mind, walk us through. Well, yeah, sorry. That I think it was super clear on where you were at. Walk us through where you're at now, and then we'll kind of fill in the middle, like, okay, what changed? Because I think that's what people are going to be interested in. Like, okay, well, how do I get from where I'm at to where you're at?
Right.
How is your life different day to day, experiencing the business, not just money, but time and just your own personal experience of the business?
How best to put it? How much time do we have? One of the things that I'm sure you'll never get tired of hearing, and I won't get tired of saying, is the ability to constantly have a continual flow of applicants who want to work in your business, and being able to pick and choose the ones that you think are the best fit. Not just saying, geez, so man, I haven't talked to anybody. All right, this guy's going to do, let's give you a mop and then here you go, and see how it works and hope that they turn into the kind of person that you wish they were. And being able to have a system that you always have all these people coming to you, and you're able to decipher as best you can what type of person they are. If they jive with you and will be a good fit for your team, oh my gosh, that's priceless. And each time it happens, I'm like, boy, I don't know if I'll get used to this. I don't think I ever will, but I love it. I love it. So being able to.
How did you do that? What changed where you weren't able, or you didn't know you should, or didn't know how you could set that up, and now you got, like, what did you do to change that?
Learned about a system, learned about a hiring funnel, learned that other people could help me do that, and that it didn't all have to fall on me. Learned that I could schedule a bunch of people all at the same time and not schedule one at 5 o'clock, one at 5:30, one at 6 o'clock, and you hang out for 2 hours and nobody shows, or maybe one person shows, which is how I used to do it. So learning that there's way better ways than what I was doing, and things that I just didn't know that I didn't know.
So what about timing? Like, how much? It sounds like you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week prior. What's a typical week look like now? And how can, if other people want that, how can they make that their reality?
Yeah. Well, now 20, 25 hours a week, and business is running smooth. We have extra staff. Somebody quits. We had somebody pop right in. That just happened last week. Somebody's out. We had somebody fill in. That happened starting this week. And I guess how to do that is to reach out and get a hold of you or somebody on the team. Was that answer that?
That's good for 1% of the listeners, but for the 99% that are like, you're all I got, Don. I can't, for whatever reason, I'm not going to reach out. And again, obviously we can't solve, this whole thing, but you have a perspective that I can't give, right? Of what it felt like for you, or give it, if you don't mind, what was the number one kind of biggest thing that you did? Like maybe just the one action, whatever it was, to get you your time back. And what was the number one belief that you shifted to get your time back? I think that'll give as much value as we can give in the time.
The number one shift was to be fully staffed, I think, because I had thought that I was fully staffed, but I wasn't, because if one person didn't come in, well, that meant I had to put on the gloves and grab the bathroom chemicals and have at it that night, no matter what was going on, because those clients that were also important to me, they had to be done because I had no way to get new clients. So even though I thought I was fully staffed, I wasn't. So now I'm fully staffed in that I have extra layers of folks. I have folks trying out the job, working a few days until we can get them something 5 days a week. And now I finally feel like I'm fully staffed. I think that was a big shift. It's taken me away from, I've got to be there, I've got to do that. I've got to tell my family I can't go to that birthday party with them tonight at our, our niece's house because daddy's got work to do. Those kind of things. So that was a big shift for me. So uh, as I grow up and be a big kid, I think I'm learning what fully staffed really is.
So I'm hearing like three things or several things popping in. One is before it sounds like you didn't have a way you're confident to get clients, and now you don't have that fear, or you don't feel
Mhm.
like you have to mother hen it. And I know you've grown top line. And I was looking at your profit, by the way, is doubled over from last year to this year, twice as much.
Right,
Pretty
right.
sure you may or may not know. I look.
Yeah, I'm paying attention. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I know, dude. Trust me.
Yeah.
But so have confidence that you can get new clients, and if somebody leaves, like that's fine. I know how to get another one. Sounds like that's somewhat foundational.
Mhm.
Two, maybe shifting your beliefs around what fully staffed look like. Like fully staffed is not. I have exactly the right amount of people as long as everyone shows up and no one quits, and I don't get another client and nobody calls in. As long as that happens, I'm fully staffed. It's like great. So you're fully staffed 20% of the time, which means either jobs don't get done or you physically go clean 80% of the time. And the third thing is I just hear redundancies. Like you've got systems and processes that assume someone's going to quit or no show. And you're like, yeah, so we just have a system for that. Am I oversimplifying? Am I twisting, or is that where you're?
Well summed up. Yeah, I'd say that's nail on the head.
Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information, but when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, and we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk. I'm trying to think of what other benefits. So tell me about that on the client attraction side and the profit. Oh, before we do that, with more profit, how much do you have? More employees, less employees? How's that been working? Because we found for a lot of our clients, their headcount doesn't go up, just somehow the revenue and the profits go up with the same amount of the employees, meaning obviously they're getting more value out of the same employees. But you tell me, has your headcount gone up the same as your commensurate with your revenue and your profit, or has it been different?
It's went up slightly, and a good bit of it we used to run 7 or 8 hour shifts, and we since reduced to 3 and 4 hour shifts.
Got it.
So we did go up a little bit in headcount. It required a couple new accounts, so of course the headcount went up there. And yeah, so I'd say we do have more for the size revenue that we would have had previously because we would have had everybody working two of the shifts that now we only require one person to work one, 3 4 hour shift.
Cool. So you've got twice the people working half the hours.
A good bit of people were 7 8 hours. Yeah, a good bit of them. And we switched that group to 3 to 4 hours. So kind of did a.
So let me just make it open. What's your to people out there that are hearing what you're saying? The two responses are probably going to be, well, you're different. I can't do it. Or quit dancing around and just tell me what you did. Like, and again, we all wish there's a silver bullet. And, as one of my favorite people out or coaches, Alex Hormozy says, it's not a silver bullet. It's 1,000 golden BBs. So with the understanding, there is no silver bullet. What would you say? You can answer anything you want. You can say anything you want to Clean Nation, but I'd love to hear one, the people that are like, well, you're different, or you're magic, or you have something I don't. And two, just tell me what you did. Stop, dancing around it. Just tell me to the best you can, step by step. What would you say to those people?
I'd say first step is get yourself out of actually being involved in the business, doing the work.
Okay.
Any which way you can do it. Hire some extra people and pay them a couple $100 to be ready when you need them to work that month. Just get out of cleaning, and then from there, focus on how you can get out of doing the accounting and just kind of hand that little piece off to somebody. How you can put some sort of systems in place, put some Google ads up, put some direct marketing together, read some good marketing books, and learn how to attract new clients.
And so those who say, but you can do that, Don, because you're rich, you're making much profit, but I'm poor. You don't understand. I can't afford good cleaners and I can't afford accountants and I certainly can't afford marketing. It never works for me. I've wasted a bunch of money. And I'm saying this because I know you felt
Mhm.
some, if not all of these things.
Talking about me, right?
But there's a lot of people say, well, that's what I want, because I want people to be like, all right, this is a guy that gets me. He's not just the guy that was always crushing it. He had these same concerns. And I remember when we first spoke, you weren't where you are now financially. We'll just put it
Yeah,
that way. Like it was a
yeah,
different
right,
kettle
right.
of fish. So I
Hmm.
just not trying to make you feel bad about where you were, but I don't want people to think like, oh, this guy was ultra successful financially and otherwise, and we've helped him be ultra successful. Like I remember when you came, there was like you just said, I was thinking about been 30, 40 years. I was going to start something different because I was just this, maybe this thing had run its course. What do you say to those guys that are there? Like, well, I don't have that kind of money, Don, for to hire good cleaners or to put all these systems in place or get marketing, or I've done marketing, it doesn't work, or I've tried hiring, it doesn't work. What say you?
Well, if they're where I was, it was my prices were way too low. I wasn't charging correctly. And if you're not charging correctly, you're not going to have any money, a couple bucks extra to put into marketing, a couple bucks extra to have somebody do your book work. And if it couldn't be a better example of somebody who didn't think they could and then did
Yeah, I
than
would
this
agree.
guy. Uh, yeah, be it a slow learner or not the brightest bulb in the batch. I'm an example of if I can change my business around, I'm telling you, anybody can.
Yeah.
Totally, totally.
Yeah, I definitely, but to your credit, because I know you like being self-deprecating, but to your credit, a lot of people give up. So there's a difference between I don't want to say slow, but it might take me a minute longer to change my mind or my belief system than it takes another
Mhm.
guy, but I don't give up. Another guy might change quicker and kind of go further faster, but then he fizzles out. Whereas you've been pretty pragmatic. So even though it took you a little longer to get where maybe you wanted to go, hopefully you feel very solid. Like this thing is here to like, you've got a business that can, it took a little longer, but it's going to be a lot more stable is what I'm seeing. But you tell me if I'm missing.
Yeah, 1000%, 1000%. And in that note, like from where I was to where I am now, I'm still trending upward. We still
Yeah.
got improvements to make. I mean, we're not done yet.
Yeah. This isn't the end of the story. This is the middle of the
Right.
story.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
So the two overreaching themes I'm hearing, and then we'll close it, but I want to give you the opportunity to either add something or say I'm mishearing what you're saying, is I'm really hearing shift in beliefs. You believed you had to be at the center of everything to make it work, and you changed that belief. You
Hmm.
believed you couldn't charge enough to pay yourself very well and have happy customers. And I bet your customers are happier now than they were before, paying more. You
Hmm.
couldn't charge enough. You couldn't hire enough. You couldn't delegate enough. And what you thought was fully staffed was not fully staffed. And what you thought was appropriate pricing was not appropriate pricing. So I'm really hearing, and I'm not trying to twist your words at all, but I'm just hearing you shifted your beliefs probably more than like you shifted your beliefs first and the actions followed, not the other way around, unless I'm misremembering or mishearing.
I'd say that's well surmised, nail on the head. Yeah. Yeah. It was that belief that everything had to go through me and I'll fix it and I'll make it right. And on the other things that you mentioned. Yeah. I wouldn't point that out, but hearing you phrase it and put it that way, I'd say think you hit the nail on the head, man. Yeah. Beliefs.
So
Beliefs are big.
any to wrap, any wide open, anything you'd like to say to Clean Nation as a whole, who is, thousands of people going, I'm struggling. I'm cleaning too hard. I'm not making enough money. Say anything you like.
Let's go. Folks, you got to raise your prices wherever you're at. If you're not making enough money, you just got to raise them a little bit. You'll win some, you lose some. It's just what happens. Get out of cleaning. I can't stress enough. Just get out of cleaning. And it didn't happen for me overnight. It took me whew, a while. And it
What's
wasn't
a
the
while?
actions.
3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years?
6 months, maybe. Yeah, it took a good 6 months to really pull out. And just last week, I was thinking, wow, I don't remember the time I had to go cover a job, go fill in, go clean a toilet. Like, I don't remember. So that's just something that I'm super grateful for. And yeah, if I can pull off something like that, believe me, anybody can. Anybody can. But I'd say you got to get out of cleaning. Just for the love of everything sacred, get out of cleaning. And I'm sure some good things will happen.
And if I could be so great, I know I said that was it, but I can't help you. You said something so interesting. It took you 6 months. And again, for most of our clients, it takes a month, 2 months. So it took,
Right.
3 to 6 times as long, which is fine because you're out and by the way, to be fair, most of our clients that are getting out of cleaning are much smaller. They're either by themselves or only have 2 or 3 cleaners. I think you've had dozens the whole time we've worked together now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So 30, 40, 50, 60. Like it's not like it's a little different, which again, I think you were when you came on, you were the top one or top three of revenue for people that I had still cleaning had ever had.
Mhm.
Like you really you rode the cleaning pony longer than most and got so much farther than most got
Right.
still cleaning. I still am impressed by that. So for a guy, Clean Nation, and we've helped hundreds and hundreds of people, this is the guy that probably had the hardest time. What would you say to the guy or gal that's like, that's me? Like, give me the one thing that after 6 months it finally clicked that, maybe I don't have to wait 6 months or go through that. I can get it faster. Be it belief or action that you took.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess belief is going to be first and action is going to be second, but
And how'd you
get
finally
somebody.
switch that belief? Because obviously, and that's another thing. We were working together. You've got coaches encouraging you. You're
Right.
seeing other people get out of cleaning. So there was a ton of, I don't say proof, but effectively proof. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
one thing if you just listen to a podcast. So you had the benefit of
Right.
that and you still took a little longer. Do you remember the day or the month where you finally went, all right, that's enough? Like what snapped where you're like, okay, I'm gonna do X. And if so, what was X and what made you be like, enough?
I think I saw a few other people do it like that, like you said, in like a month. And I kept struggling with it. I didn't have my hiring system fully up and running yet. I think that was a big part. And even when I did, there were still times where I ended up wiggling my way into the job one way or another. They need me. I've got to be there. There's no one else, yada, yada. And being fully staffed and then just figuring out like kind of making a decision, which falls back to the belief that first of the month, that's it. I'm not doing it no more. We're going to send somebody else. We're going to send the backup in. I'll send the client a credit, but I'm not doing it. Those
Mm,
kind of things. And I think actions are one thing, but I think like you pointed out, the belief is kind of it's like the iceberg, and the belief is the part below the water, the really big part, and the
yeah.
actions, the little part that we can see that's floating on top. So hindsight, yeah, I never imagined it would be that way, but after going through it, I think that's the way it is.
The tough part with the podcast, we can only really speak to what to do and how to do it, which like you is a perfect picture of the little piece of the iceberg above.
Mhm.
And so frustrated. The reason we even started the whole coaching piece is I would hear people that were fans of the podcast before we even did coaching say, God, I love the podcast and it's great. And I, of
Mhm.
course, tell me about it. Like how is your life different? Are you cleaning less? Are you making more? Like what's going on? Like, oh, I haven't done anything. Like they would
Yeah,
acknowledge that it was good and they
right.
got it. And they were like, I'm on board. Everything you say, I agree with. But when I said, how much of it you're doing? Like, well, none. I'm not doing any of it. So I just want to encourage you guys, gals, if you have been listening to this podcast or any podcast for a long period of time, one of two things. One, you think the information is no good, in which case stop listening to this. Go listen to
Right.
something that you think is
Right.
helpful. Or two, you think the information is good and you just need help executing, in which case don't just keep listening to more podcasts thinking that will fix it. Reach out, whether it's us or somebody else, get someone to actually help you and join a community of people that are getting the results that you want. Right. Because again, I could yell at Don all day long. And even if his head's like, Mike cares about me and he's an honest man, he wouldn't lie to me about this, but his heart could still be screaming, it's a trap. Like it's never going to work. You're going to clean till you die, you dumb son of a gun. But when he sees other people that are his fellow people just getting the results, the heart has to at some point go, well, maybe I could hope, maybe it'll be okay. So I just want to encourage, I'm sure you guys have all heard if you take the, average income or net worth of the 5 people you spend the most time with, that's typically your net worth or your income. So a lot of us, it's the blind leading the blind, right? We're the most successful person. We are the only person that's a business owner in our area, or the business owners we talk about are also struggling, and we all just struggle together. So find a community, whether it's ours or somewhere else, where people are getting the results that you want consistently. So not only do you get the what to do and how to do it, but you also get support of people walking you through it. You can also see other people winning, which hopefully can. That's why we have people like Don on here, so you can kind of get a chance to spend some time with. Like, I know Don, and I could, come on here, be like, I got this client, he's amazing, and here's all the cool stuff he's doing. But you see his face, you hear his voice, you hear his sincerity, and you're like, okay, this could be me. So I just want to encourage you. Don't keep doing the same thing, hoping for different results. If you want to change your life, you got to change your life. Like Don said it probably 5 times. I finally got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I got to do it, even if whatever. If that's you, do something different. Reach out. If it's us, growmycleaningcompany.com, Mike at growmycleaningcompany.com. If it's someone else, do that. But please, please, please don't just keep doing the same thing, hoping for different results. Talk to you soon, Clean Nation. See ya. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.